This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the WCRA. Guys, don't forget to go to the WCRA's website. That's WCRArodeo.com.
This is The Gauge with host Chance Conradu.
Are you freaking serious? It's Conrado. This is The Gauge, and I am Chance Conrado. On this episode of the podcast, we have got singer, songwriter, bushman, hunter, fisherman, whatever you want to call him, Kolton Moore. We were super lucky because Colton came in here, he brought the guitar, and he decided to play us some music. And wow, for having never heard his music, I was blown away. And I'm not even like a big country music fan. I don't even think that's country music. It's just pretty. Came in here like, pretty good looking guy. No, he's a 10 after playing that music. No wonder he's married. No wonder he's got a wife. No wonder she doesn't want him on the road. He's a beautiful lyricist. Anyway, listen to the episode. He also has a pretty awesome guiding service that he has and runs and operates, and I just cannot get enough of his music. I just downloaded all of his stuff on Apple, so he got like $7 from me. Check it out. Well, so this is our second podcast in like 3 weeks. We were at the NFR all 10 days. Okay. In Globe Life, like doing shows. Nice. With like round winners and stuff. And so we were like, we don't want to do a podcast for a while.
Yeah, you were burnt out.
And definitely burn out on rodeo stuff.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of nice to talk about other things, country music and hunting and whatever else you get into that you're willing to share. But our marketing director, Riley, brought you up and was like, hey, check this dude out. He checks a couple boxes, so let's have him come in. Cool. And so here you are. But she had given me some pretty interesting insight on you. Not a lot, so I'm going to learn a lot about you, which is fun in this setting. But one of the things that we had kind of talked about is, meeting her and I, when I was like, okay, so give me the rundown, is that you kind of had this booming music career that you kind of threw to the wayside, which I think really prompts an interesting conversation.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to preface it, but the music career in the beginning was not booming. We'll put it that way. That's the long and the short of it. It was a long, hard road for 3.5, almost 4 years, and then push came to shove. I was like, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. Not that we weren't successful at it, because we were growing. It was very organic, and like I said, it was almost 4 years that we played on the road. I graduated high school in, I guess that would have been June 2011, and then I got off the road in November 14. So however long that is. But anyways, it was a long, drawn-out deal, and we grew organically, had some really good guys behind me in the band, good booking agent, good management, the whole 9 yards. And one day I woke up and I was like, man, it's not worth it. All the nightlife, everything. I want to be hunting and fishing, so I was missing that. That was like my first love growing up. I fell in love with that as a young kid and wasn't getting to do it because we were spending 320 days a year on the road every single year for those 3.5, 4 years. And it's like, yeah, let's just call it quits. And that's just kind of how I was. I try not to be that way anymore. I don't want to give up on things so abrupt, but so I told the guys, I was like, let's play, one last show, or I think it was 2 last shows, and we played one of those 2, and didn't even play the last one, and for 5 years didn't touch a guitar, didn't even really think about a guitar, didn't write a song, just kind of put it on the back burner for a long time, and then that's when I started focusing on my hunting career, and worked for some outfits. I guess that would have been about 3 years, so late 2014, all of 15, all of 16, most of 17. Worked for different outfits in the hill country. Did a lot of traveling, a lot of fly fishing, also fly fishing, guide fly fishing trips up in northern Arkansas. But did all that, did all the fun stuff that I wanted to do. And then I was like, well, why am I neglecting this thing that and all the while I'm, doing all this fishing and hunting, I'm, every once in a while somebody would be like, hey, man, it looks like you guys are drawing a lot of attention on the music side, because all the stuff was still on, Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube and all that. And so I started paying attention to it, and I'm like, wow, it went from, 10,000 monthly listeners on Spotify to 100,000, and then 100,000 to 200, and 200 to 300, and then I don't know what it's at now, well over 300, which is incredible. And but it happened the right way. It was word of mouth, and it was just good music doing what good music should do, speaking for itself. No promotion behind it. nothing like that. So I guess 2015, I played a show, the first show I'd played in a long time. No, it wasn't 15. What was that? 18. 17. So yeah, I hadn't played a show in 5 years, and I played a show, and it was a big sellout deal. It was incredible, blew my mind. So I was like, I didn't know this many people wanted to hear me talk and sing into a microphone, but they did, and I was thankful for it. And so that kind of, in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, we need to give this thing some more attention. So then started working on a batch of songs, and I think that next January released a small album, EP type deal. Did really well for us, and all the while still hunting and fishing, and starting my own hunting outfit with a business partner of mine, and doing the whole 9 yards, getting married and everything, and now we're here today. So
that's the Cliff Notes. Let's go way back.
that's the Cliff Notes. Now we can
cool.
go back.
That's
and
the
get
show.
details.
He's ready
Yeah.
to get out of here. But no, it's I guess when somebody decides they want to go into the music thing, I mean, obviously there's this whole culture of country music here in Texas and all that. But I mean, what was it that kind of prompted you to even go that route in the first place? I mean, it takes a interesting person to want to do that.
Yeah. And I don't think I was that kind of person in the beginning, for sure, because I didn't want to play music. Like, I started playing drums when I was 6 or 7.
Wait, drums or drums?
Drums, trap set drums. I wanted to play that big drum, but the damn band teacher in 5th grade, I guess, he was like, nope, you're playing the trombone. So I was like, seriously? So I just screwed around for the rest of the year.
You don't look like a trombone player.
No, that's what I told him. I was like,
Ty,
you see me?
Ty, you kind of look like a trombone player, though.
I can see Ty being a trombone player for sure.
I played guitar, FYI.
Really?
I don't see that.
Yes.
In band?
Yeah, not in band.
Nice.
Wait. Guitar or Guitar Hero?
Yeah.
Guitar and bass.
Right
And
on.
Guitar Hero also?
No.
Very cool.
Whatever. Whatever.
I'll show you after the recording.
Well, you have a guitar in your... Oh, you just assume he's going to let you use his guitar?
I'll let him use it. I want to hear it.
Oh, that is the rudest thing I've ever seen from a producer of anything. Like, oh, I'm going to show you on his guitar. Yeah, sorry about that. We usually don't allow him to speak because of those reasons. Anyway, okay, so you played the drums, and and then
6 or 7 years old, started playing the drums. That's because I used to bang on everything when I was a little kid, so my parents bought me a drum set.
Probably don't say that sentence too often.
Yeah, so I used to bang on everything.
As your wife sitting over there clutching her drink, like,
he did what?
Do you guys have kids?
We do not yet. We just got married last October, so it's a work in progress.
So not on everything.
No.
Yeah. No. Okay.
But yeah, drums 6 or 7. My sister taught me like 3 chords on the guitar at 13 or 14. And then fast forward, and me just tinkering around with the guitar every once in a while. Fast forward the summer after I graduated, they had the 95.9 The Ranch here in Fort Worth had, I think it was called the Pickin' Party or something like that. I don't know if you guys are familiar with 95.9. They might still do it.
I've seen it in Sundance Square before.
Yeah. So that's where we played.
Actually, I think they called us to like try to get us to advertise it on their show or something.
We did the Pickin' Party. The little competition was at Railhead in Willow Park, Hudson Oaks, whichever one of those that is. And I won that deal. My buddies were just like, go up there and play. Like, you got to play this.
It's kind of like a battle of the bands.
Yeah,
thing.
It's like a battle of the bands, but it's just a singer-songwriter deal. And you win like a steak dinner, and you get to open up for the band that was playing the ranch Wednesday night deal. You know, and so went in, and I'm like, dude, nobody's gonna like this song, and played it, won. Maybe there were several rounds. I think there was like 5 rounds, and then you got to open for the band. So I guess I won like 4 or 5 rounds, and then I got to open up for Sean McConnell, which was one of my, I was like, yeah, that's the pinnacle of my career. I'm done now. Play one show, I'll be done. And met some cool people after that show, and so that led to a really good booking agent and some management and getting a band together and all that. And then it was like, went from there to just me and my guitar, not having any bandmates at all, not really knowing any guys that played drums or played bass or lead guitar or piano or anything, to or having any interest in having a band. to having a full band in a matter of like probably 3 months, and then full out, like playing every single night of the week, every single night that somebody would let us play. That probably all happened in like 6 or 7 months. And then that would have put us in late 2011. And so from there, it was just constant. Probably 2012 and 13, we played the most, at like 300 nights in a year. It was just a madhouse. And, but that's what all ended up, accumulating. And it's like, man, this is just too much. Call it, I guess they call it being a road dog. So we were just like, we thought that was cool at the time. We're like, yeah, let's be road dogs. Let's go out and play as much as we can. We'll play for $50 on a Tuesday night. Like, we don't care. We'll play for a case of beer. So we were doing that, and that probably caused us to burn out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, so that's interesting because, I mean, more or less, that's probably the kind of traditional path where people get into it, right? Like, you kind of start small and grow.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just based on what you're saying, it kind of seems like maybe you were a little disenfranchised. Like, you're like, oh, I'm done right here. And then you kind of did it anyway, and maybe you were just disenfranchised with the whole process right from the get-go. Is that what do you think maybe it was? Or was there a part of you where like, I'm going to see if I can go all the way with it?
Well, yeah, when I won the contest deal and then started really getting some attention with people wanting to, book me for shows and all that, I'm like, well, let's give it a whirl. I didn't have anything going. I had no plans. I think the only plan I had, I wasn't going to go to college. I had no interest in that. I was terrible at school. And I think the only semi-plan I had, I was like, I'm going to go work for the railroad. I heard they have really good benefits and sounds like a cool job. Never did that. Never even tried to do it.
Thank God you didn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Looking back on it now. But, yeah, I was like, let's just give it a whirl. And then got all those guys together. Two of the bandmates that I had at the time went to Millsap. I went to Millsap High School, just west of Fort Worth and Weatherford here. And they both went to high school with me, or they were a little bit older than me. And then we met a drummer on Craigslist, and he's still with me today. He does all of our stuff, all of our social media stuff. Anything you see Kolton Moore posted, all runs by him, and all of our YouTube stuff and digital distribution. Like, Aaron's the man. So he's been with me from the get-go.
All the best things come off Craigslist.
For sure. And Craigslist is like a dying breed now.
Is it? Craigslist is not a thing anymore?
Oh, there's nothing. It's all in Spanish, and yeah.
Really?
Yeah, nothing against Spanish, but I can't read it, so it's no good to me.
That's true. I can't read it either. But I guess I haven't been on Craigslist in so long that I didn't really know. I just assumed.
You've got, what is it, Facebook Marketplace or whatever now.
That stole the show?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Facebook's like taking over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the world right now.
Yep.
We won't talk about that.
No, we won't. A lot of it's happening today.
It's happening right now, actually. Yeah. What, we didn't know anything about it, Riley, until what, like 2 o'clock?
Until Ty enlightened us.
Yeah. Don't. But yeah.
Yeah.
Don't, but yeah.
We won't even get on the subject.
No, because if you're like me, this is not going to go anywhere good.
No politics.
Okay, so, I mean, normally we kind of like go off into the woods, but I'm really interested kind of in your mindset, like with this whole process. I mean, to put that much into it and then be like, it was really just because, did you feel like you were missing out on your passions, which were obviously, what a bunch of us good old boys passenger are, hunting and fishing. But.
Yeah. Honest to God, there was probably 4 or 5 good reasons, but that was number one.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like, all right, I'm not getting to hunt. And like I said, that was my first love. I probably shot my first whitetail at 5 or 6 years old, and from then on, that's all I thought about. And then started, seriously bass fishing when I was 10 or 12, and then that's all I thought about.
Were you on a high school bass fishing team?
No, they didn't have that when I was in school.
Really?
Which sucks, because I know they have it now, and man, I probably wouldn't have played football or power lifted or anything. I would have just fished. That'd have been pretty cool. Yeah.
Being from a different state, not going to say which one because people get real upset, but I didn't realize that existed.
Yeah.
Like, there's high school fishing teams.
I think it's neat, though. I mean, it gets kids outdoors.
It's super interesting.
Yeah, at the least, it gets kids outdoors and gets them off their phones and off their Xbox, and it's doing some good for the world.
Let me ask you guys this real quick. You two. I know I'm pulling people in who no one can see, but I'm just really wondering, like, all right, so put yourself back in high school. High school quarterback or like the captain of the high school fishing team comes up to you. What's up? Let's go to prom.
Yeah.
What's happening if it's the fishing guy? Is it like golf? Is high school fishing like golf? You're a homeschooler. That's right. This is weird.
So
now.
she wouldn't have known. She'd have probably said yes to either one of them.
She would have been just excited to go to prom.
If they were rodeo, that's where I would have been. I mean, that's, yeah. I didn't really date people from my high school.
Yeah. That's true.
And we had a rodeo prom, so.
Yeah, it wasn't the same, though.
It was way better.
Not where I was.
I don't believe it either.
But we had a bunch of homeschoolers, and they all needed a prom, so we threw them a prom.
Yeah. Not where I was. Rodeo prom was a huge disappointment for me.
Really?
There was no beer, no anything. It was not the same. And because of the homeschoolers, no offense, like they just weren't ready to party at that level.
Yeah.
Like what prom is supposed to be. They just weren't. They weren't there.
They weren't.
Mom. That was, no.
That was their place.
Yeah.
We partied.
Maybe for yours. I'm only speaking for myself, but
Texas is maybe a little
because you didn't rodeo, right?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had, did you go to a pretty decent sized school? It was like Millsap a decent
No,
size? It's real small.
Is like 2A. Like graduated with 65 kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small.
So your prom wasn't like a headbanger necessarily.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And I only went for like 10 minutes my senior year.
Really?
I was like, this is lame.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I worked so hard to try to get dates to go to prom.
Really?
Every year. Really hard. Worked out for me for some reason. But I went to a massive school, so it was like there was plenty of sad, lonely girls who would take somebody.
In what state?
It's Colorado. It's a long story. Anyway, there's this
Close to Colorado.
It's right there in the.
I'm here in California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Colorado.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but same thing.
That's exactly.
It's
That's why
literally the exact same thing. Yeah, but so like, what is it? What did we look up yesterday? 10,000 people a month from California are moving to Texas.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, which sucks because if you took the people away, California is like the greatest place on earth.
Yeah, I believe it.
Just take the people away.
As far as the scenery and all that.
Oh, it's awesome.
Beautiful.
Or if you go to San Diego, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. That's like the secret red wave over there.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just beautiful. You ever been to California?
I haven't.
Well, not a lot of reasons maybe why you would.
No, I'd love to
although
go.
there's a lot of hunting in Northern California.
A lot of hunting.
Yeah.
I've got a good buddy that runs an outfit in Northern California.
Really?
That's they do a lot of sheep hunting, Thule elk,
Yeah.
big mule deer. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
they do it right.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's that whole area though, like Oregon, California, Western Idaho.
Yeah.
That's like
That's the Mecca.
one of the best places to live.
Absolutely.
But you got fly fishing, which is not really a Texas thing.
No,
Me being
it's
from
not.
Colorado, obsessed over it my whole life.
Really?
Until I moved here. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
we could talk about that too. But
No, it's definitely not a Texas thing. It's growing though, with like the Guadalupe River, because there's trout that hold over and actually spawn there now, and they stock it every year. Trout Unlimited does, and then Texas has implemented a stocking program all over the state during the winter.
yeah, in the winter.
when the water's cold enough. So that's cool, and it gets people out and it gets them. That's honestly how I got interested in it. I'm trying to think of I don't even know who introduced it to me. Probably a good friend of mine that I graduated with. And I think we went out and caught those little stalker rainbows in the Brazos River below Possum Kingdom Lake. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I just caught those little stalker rainbows. We'd sit there and catch, 60 to 100 in a day. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then graduated on to bass fishing and striper, and went down to Venice, Louisiana, and do some red fishing, and then went up to northern Arkansas on the White and the North Fork rivers, which is, unbeknownst to me at the time, was like the mecca of brown trout fishing. And so that's a whole new world, a whole new realm of fly fishing up there. You're not throwing, little 18-inch or size 18 midge. You're throwing a streamer that's a foot long with 3 hooks on it, ripping it through the water as fast as you can. I'm like, all right, this is it.
That's how I grew up in Colorado.
There's streamers.
Yep, always. Yeah, really all year long for brown trout.
Yeah.
My grandmother lives in Meeker on what's called the White River.
Okay.
It's got about a mile stretch of private river that, since I could walk, just a 7-weight and
That's
whatever
awesome.
streamer you can find.
Yeah. Doesn't
And
matter
we're
what color.
talking, unless somebody comes by on a float tube, untouched.
Really?
Nothing under 22 inches. So
Jeez.
that's how I spent my entire childhood. And I was so into fly fishing, which I'm sure you get, that I was a snob against, which happens in that. If you know a lot about fly fishing, that's posh
For sure.
compared to every other fishing.
For
Right?
sure.
It's like, meh.
It is.
That's these girls. That's like Dash to Fames compared to any other barrel horse.
Yeah.
Right. It is snobby. And once you do that, Nothing else compares.
No.
Like catching a bass on a worm is just not the same.
No, there's
thing.
no
It's
there's no
just-
sport to it.
There's nothing to it.
Nah.
But tricking a freaking giant trout.
Yeah.
Well, and especially if it's a rising trout. Have you ever caught like a 24 to 26 inch brown trout
On a salmon fly.
on a fly?
Yeah.
on an Adams fly?
Yeah. On Adams.
There is nothing like that.
No,
You'll
there's not.
never compare that to anything.
Yeah.
Like drugs, maybe.
For sure.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
It's
You're
a
in the music
definite
industry.
high, though.
It is. It's
It
just,
is.
it's unbelievable. And
Yeah.
you just can't really compare it to anything.
Yeah.
But, all right. So we did the music thing, and you had that show in 2018 that blew up. Like, Riley told me it was sold out. And Riley, who'd you say it was with?
Co-wrestling.
Yeah. Which, he's kind of popped off a little bit. He's like he's like the kind of Post Maloney guy of the
Yeah.
red dirt country
The next-
music
the
thing.
next postie.
Yeah, that's actually. We were just saying maybe they could do a show together.
Yeah.
Post Malone probably wouldn't do it, but they could do it.
No,
it makes
he
sense.
probably would, honestly. It'd be pretty cool.
But so why weren't at that point in your life? You had taken this huge break. You got this massive high, sold out a show. Then what? Then you were just like, cool. I got my little dopamine kick from the music industry. I'm out again.
Well, yeah. So that show was after the break. That was
Right.
after the 4 or 5 year break, however long it was. No, that show is what kind of put the thought in the back of my head. I'm like, why am I not at least, doing a little bit, putting a song or two out a year, playing 4 or 5 shows a year. And so I think that show was in, was it in July? Yeah, it was in July. And so the rest of that year, I'm just like kind of brainstorming, like, what are we going to do? What would be a good plan for next year? Because we had I had that fall and winter booked up for hunts. And so spent the rest of the year kind of brainstorming. And then 2019, I was like, I'm going to play 3 or 4 shows. And I did. I played three shows back to back to back. Played Stephenville, Texas, played College Station, Texas, and then played Durant, Oklahoma. And they all went well. They were all, really good shows. It was just me on my guitar, just acoustic. Didn't bring the band back. Wasn't to that point yet, because that takes time. I mean, if you're playing a band show, full band show, and you haven't played with those guys in 5 years, like, it takes a good month of rehearsals. And I mean, we're trying to put on a show. We're not just getting up there and playing 12 songs. You're putting on a full show, which there's a lot that goes into it. So played those 3 shows, and then that was it for 2019. And I can't remember if it was 19 or 20 that I put must have been 19, January 19. So I guess I played the show with Co, had that break, put that little EP out, little record out in January of 19, and then played those shows a few months after that. And then didn't do much else in 2019. And then this year put out another little EP deal. And yeah, it's done really well for me, and people seem to like it. I like all the songs.
Oh, so we're not done here. We're just dabbling. at
Oh,
this
we're
point.
not done at all now.
Yeah.
No, I'm to the point where I'm like, no, what's the point in being done? And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even want to consider it dabbling, because I want it to be. We got so many loyal fans that, like I said, I mean, the fan base grew organically, and I feel like that's the thing. Like, we didn't force it on anybody. Those people listen because they want to listen, and they like, what the songs are about. And to me, that's the best case scenario there. So I'm like, why not just, keep on doing it a little bit. I'll run my hunting and fishing stuff when I can, and I'll do the music when I can, and have a wife, and, have some kids, and do that when I can, and just.
Why are you shaking your head back
make
there?
a mixture of all of it.
I have ADD. All I see is her shaking her head.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Face palm. That's mean.
He's really bad with dates.
Oh, I'm probably am. The dates are all wrong. Yeah, I should have told you that beforehand.
No, I mean, I don't know.
I could have
any
done
difference.
all
I'm like,
this in
okay,
2000.
2015. Cool. Yeah,
No, I
keep
could have
telling me.
done all this in 2016. I don't have any idea. I'm just trying to
I didn't
build
even
the
know he was
storyline.
like-
Oh, so you're not shaking your head about the kids thing.
Oh no,
She wants kids, like 6
Oh, yeah,
probably,
for
right?
sure.
no.
Yeah. One thing that interests me is, like, once she walks in and say, so are you Conrado? And then, oh, I stayed at Kelly's. Okay, so you're barrel racer if you did that.
Yeah.
What had you go dabble in that arena?
I had no idea. It was not by choice. Trust me.
You didn't know about the barrel racing thing?
Yeah, I did.
How'd you guys meet?
We met. She was a school teacher. Went to college and was a school teacher out of that for 5 years. And I guess, was it your 3rd year teaching? She was a school teacher at Millsap. Not while I was going there, but that was three years ago. Because that's what I tell everybody. Everybody I tell that, they're like, So she was teaching school when you were there? I'm like, no, you idiot. She's only a year older than me. But
You
anyway.
should just tell people, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, she's a total MILF.
Yeah. Yeah, why do you think she's not working there anymore?
Yeah. But yeah, so she was teaching kids that I went to school with their parents, pretty much, long and short of it. And so that's how we met.
That sounds better, but not as exciting.
No, it's not near as exciting.
I'm going to remember it the other way, like you do dates.
Yeah. We just watched that. I don't know if you guys watched that show, A Teacher. That's totally
what is that?
It's about. It's about this kid that has an affair with his teacher and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I went to a middle
watch
school
it,
where
though.
that happened.
Really?
Yeah.
A middle school.
And she was like you wear that as a badge of honor kind of teacher.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Oh, no, it happens a lot.
Yeah, that's the story.
It happens a lot.
That's how you guys met, just so you know. Yeah, as many people as listen to your SoundCloud thing will listen to this podcast.
Yep.
So, yeah, everyone's going to hear that
They're
part.
all-
Ty already cut the truth out.
They're all going to know. Hopefully Ty can edit this thing. We'll put the right dates in there.
Yeah.
We'll go back and put the right dates in.
Yeah, but we'll make it where he was born in 2011.
Yeah.
This is really going to be
Yeah.
a mess.
There
This is going to be
you
a mess
go.
for you guys.
So it's just you talking, and suddenly you hear 2014, and just randomly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Born
Just in your voice, too.
2011.
Not even in my voice, in your voice.
Affair with teacher 2015, 26. Okay, 2018.
2018. He was 7.
Exactly.
It just got weird.
It did. Yeah, that happens here.
They're not gonna make a TV show after that one.
Probably not. Not anymore. People are too sensitive for jokes like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that show was pretty risque. I'm surprised they did it, but anyways.
Did you guys ever watch like Step Brothers and Super? That was like,
Oh, yeah.
because you graduated the same year I did, so that was the era for that. It could never do those movies again.
No.
We could never have those again.
Mm-mm.
They were
And say some of the one-liners that are in there.
I know you
No,
can't.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, there's too many safe spaces.
Yep.
What do you do? Okay, so the music career is still gonna go. How many do a lot of these guys like you did the show with Cole Wetzel? Obviously, he's kind of grown up, blowing up. I did go through your Instagram, like look who follows you, and like, do these guys like reach out to you to go with them on the road ever? Surely, right?
I mean, they don't reach out just because they all know what I'm up to.
Yeah.
I mean, if they know me, they know what I'm up to. But yeah, I played with him since we were, that would have been 2000. I think we probably met in 12, and he was just living in Stephenville, doing the same thing I was doing. So we played shows together, and I would ride in his van to shows. He would ride in ours, that type thing. We did that with a lot of different guys. So that's what's cool about it. To me, those guys that's who they are. Like we grew up playing together kind of and cut our teeth together, and now they're having great success, and more power to them. That's awesome. I'm glad they stuck with it,
Yeah,
and,
totally.
kept doing their thing. But no, those guys they don't reach out and bug me really. But yeah, Co reached out for that show and was like, dude, it's been 5 years. Let's do a show together.
Yeah.
I'm like, why not?
Yeah, totally.
Let's try it. See
Yeah.
how it goes. So
No, makes sense.
and it was the spark that got the fire going again. So I'm glad I did it. No
Yeah.
doubt.
I mean, yeah, no doubt about it. It's just it is interesting to kind of hear all that and like, I mean, you just seem super grounded to not like let it all go. I don't want to say go to your head, but like where you just kind of drop everything and just chase that
Yeah.
till the end of time. I mean, because that's the norm, right? Like everybody wants to be a musician, or at least you probably know a million people who want to be musicians,
For sure.
and they never get out of their mom's basement. And like, obviously, based on just kind of some of the stuff you've said, clearly you are a 1%er if you're comparing it to the average people.
Yeah.
And to be so grounded to be like, I don't know, this is for me. Maybe I would rather do these things. I mean, that's just interesting because you wouldn't necessarily think that would be the path someone would go.
Yeah, especially not in the position that we were in late 2014. We were, like I said, we had just started to kind of get, gain some traction in some key cities, in the southern part of the United States, and that's where you want to be. You want to have a good crowd starting in Lubbock and Fort Worth and, wherever. And we were getting to that point, and it was probably stupid of me looking back, but it might have saved my life and saved me from a lot of bad habits that I would have gotten a hold of, and I don't know, happened for a reason, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
And life now is great, so I have no complaints whatsoever.
Totally. What kind of pushed you towards the guiding aspect of things? Because, I mean, that's technically a tougher life than music if you really look at the details.
It's very similar life for sure, though. Being on the road, being gone, being away from family, missing birthdays, missing Christmas, missing Thanksgiving, the whole 9 yards. So there's a lot of similarities to it.
And no after party.
Yeah, no after party. But then again, it's like when we're entertaining hunters, they want to stay up until 2 in the morning, and then you got to be up at 5. So that's the difference. You can't sleep in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, there's some after party ish type stuff you can get into. But so that was, I think probably like December 14. A buddy of mine was already guiding. His roommate, his like blind roommate that he met in college, was a hunting guide.
Blind,
like going into it blind. He didn't know. He wasn't
blind,
like
blind hunting,
blind.
not eyes blind. I was like,
Yeah.
this guy sounds cool.
No,
Maybe he's next.
He's a heck of a hunter if he can hunt when he's blind. But no, so he met him and got a guiding job, kind of working part time for him. Then I got off the road playing music, and I was like, man, I just need to breathe and get away for a bit. And so I did, and went down and spent a couple weeks with him as he was running hunts, and I would just like help him cook or whatever, because as a guide, you don't just guide.
No, there's a humongous learning curve.
Oh yeah, and I mean, well, you're not only trying to learn how to guide, but you're trying to learn how to entertain. You're in the service industry. I mean, you're servicing that person with your ability to put them on the right animal, and you're also cooking for them. You're cleaning after them. I mean, it's the whole 9 yards. So I was just helping him with all that stuff, and then ended up getting hired by that outfit probably in January, February of 15, and then worked for them for several years. And I don't know, it just like music. I didn't want to get started into music. It just kind of fell in my lap. I had no intentions of going to being a hunting guide when I quit playing music. I didn't know what I was going to do, but that just fell in my lap, and it stuck. And of course, like I told you earlier, that was my first love. So I was like, oh, it makes sense. So I just went with it. And then, I've already touched on it a little bit, but I worked for several different outfits in different parts of the state and hunted all over. Man, I was hunting. I was doing the exact same thing I was doing being on the road playing music. I was hunting like 300 to 330 days a year. Ranch work, hunting, travel days, all that. It was a madhouse for 15, 16, 17. And then finally I was like, man, I'm going to burn myself out on this too. I better slow down a little bit, pull the reins back. And so now I own my own outfit with a good friend of mine, and it's been really good. We've had that we started Safari Specialist in, I don't know, I'm going to screw this one up too. What year? 18? 19. So 2 years, coming on 2 years. I don't know. We've had it for a while, and we've done really well with it. Been very fortunate to kill some really good animals and run across some really good clients that are going to be with us for a long time. And yeah, that's where I see myself being, and what I see myself doing as my full-time gig. We live in Kerrville, so we live right in the heart of kind of the hill country hunting industry, if you will. And so it's great. I love it. Wouldn't trade that for the world either. Just like I said, music, starting out, it was unintentional, and with hunting, it was unintentional, but I wouldn't go back and do it any other way.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it kind of creates an interesting dynamic, right? Because you could almost have the two parody each other a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And for the longest time, I don't walk into a room and just say, hey, I'm Colton Moore. I play music. Do you want to hear me play? I'm just not that kind of person. But for the longest time, I didn't want to bring my guitar around hunting camp or anything. It was just, all right, this is music, this is hunting. Let's keep them separate. There's no middle ground. And lately, I've found myself bringing my guitar along for some unknown reason, whether it's a client that knows and he asks, or, or whatever. But it's been cool. It's been cool to sit around a campfire and, just kind of share stories about the songs that I've written, and then play songs with guys, and then wake up the next morning and go hunting. And there's a different kind of bond that you create with a hunter, whether he's a guy from California or a guy from, just down the road in Kerrville that's hunting with you. So it's kind of neat. I don't know. It's brought a different aspect to it.
Yeah, I mean, from just a pure business standpoint, it's not a terrible marketing tool, right? It kind of separates you from the rest.
Yeah, and it's not, and I didn't want it to be that, though. I don't want it to be like, oh, we're going to hunt with him because Colton's going to play songs. It's like, no, just come hunt with us because we're a good hunting outfit, and we're going to put you on some big critters. But, yeah, I might play a song or two if you give me enough whiskeys.
Sure.
You know, that's how I wanted it to be. I didn't want it to be.
That must be
but
hard.
You're right.
You walk right past our bar and you're like, no, I'm good with my smart.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, if I knew I'd be playing a couple songs, I'll have a whiskey after one song. So.
Oh, well, great. I guess we're going to play the whole album. I feel a little embarrassed drinking right now on Wednesday.
No, don't at all.
You always say that, though, whenever someone else doesn't drink.
Don't at all.
Because it makes me uncomfortable.
I don't not.
People
drink,
don't partake in the free alcohol. I'm like, oh, what are you hiding?
Do you
What are
want me to
hiding,
drink?
Colton? No, I don't want you to drink. That doesn't count. Because then they're gonna be like, why are his lips blue?
Yeah.
Why is there a cherry here?
All the fruity drinks.
I mean, yeah.
You just reminded me I need to buy some cherries.
You sure you want him touching your guitar?
No, I might not.
Yeah. All right, well, then go put some hand sanitizer on. Well, I mean, so starting a hunting outfit in Texas, that's a hard thing to do. So, I mean, how do you accomplish something like that? I mean, you're the same age I am, obviously.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to start anything in the age that we live in, especially something that requires so much investment of time, locating property. Obviously, the way that hunting is in Texas, it's not like you just go out on BLM land or something like that. I mean, it's a very different way of doing it, at least compared to where I'm from.
No,
so how do you kind of go from point, I want to do this, to actually having a fully functional business like Safari Specialist?
Yeah. Safari Specialist kind of happened the exact same way the music and the hunting, in the beginning did. It was Dalton and I, my partner, met. We met in a hunting camp working for another outfit. And I was kind of on the outs, with that outfit. I was like, I'm ready to do something else, whether it's another hunting outfit or whether it's starting my own deal or whether it's going to work for the railroad. I was just ready to do something else. And I was to that point. I was away from home, for way too long at a time, and met him. He was kind of in the same boat, and I was like, well, let's just, he's got some country in Kerrville. I'll bring some hunters out there. And I had a place down near Bracketville. I was like, we'll take some hunters down there, and there was no name. We didn't start hunting together as Safari Specialists. It was we're just hunting. We're just taking some guys hunting. There was no name at all. And then, 8 months, 10 months goes by, and I'm not even going to say a date because I know it's going to be wrong. So we'll just say 8 or 10 months goes by, and I'm like, man, we're kind of kicking ass at this. We're doing pretty good. We've got a lot of guys. We're running like 10 hunters a month, and we're making pretty decent money. We might as well make up a name and get a little logo going and try to do this thing. So we did that, and that took a few months to figure out the right name and get some, get a cool logo going. And we did, and I don't know, it's done. We've just been very fortunate. We've ran across the right country to hunt, some really good properties. And like I said earlier, some really good hunters they're not just going to come hunt with us one time a year even. They're going to come hunt with us several times a year. And after that, it becomes, those guys are just friends more or less. And so that's really cool for us because it's like, well, who are we hunting with this week? And it's like, oh, we're hunting with, Jim and Rusty and whoever else. And it's guys that we know and that we enjoy hunting with, and we know them, just like a friend down the road, like, about their family and all that. And I love that. And I love hunting with new hunters too. I love learning about those guys and teaching them about the animals that we're hunting and the country we're hunting in and everything that I have knowledge about. But yeah, with Safari Specialist, I don't know, we kind of struck gold. We're in the right place at the right time, and it's grown organically too. We haven't done any sort of marketing. We've got a Facebook and an Instagram and a website, and then everybody we hunted with in the first year, which was probably, 100 guys or so, they told, 2 of their buddies each, and then 50% of those guys came, and so then we were hunting with 150 guys and so on and so forth. And I think 2020 we did, I don't know, I'd probably be lying to you if I told you exactly, but around 220 to 240 hunters. And it's just he and I, hunting, and we got a couple part-time guides, so we were getting after it, but it was really good to us.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you start doing the math, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's a lot of days in the field.
It is, yeah. A high overhead business for sure, but I mean, if you guys are doing that, I mean, that's impressive. Yeah. But I guess here's a good question, right? Is what do you see Like you're like the definition of laid back. I bet that's probably what your wife would say too, right? Or maybe you're a different guy at home.
No, I don't
You're a different guy at home? No? Yeah, you're just like the most laid back dude ever. I mean, what are you wanting to happen with this music thing? Like, are you wanting anything to happen with it? Or, I mean, because I'm in a similar situation to you. I've got another business in this, and it's like, and it's a tough to leverage both things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you do that? I mean, which one do you loosen the reins up on and when? I'm asking for advice.
No, that is a good question though, because I don't feel like, one, I don't stress about anything. I think that's the key to a lot of things in life. It's like, don't stress, just let it happen. Let it happen organically. So I don't know. I'm not going to loosen the reins on either one of them. You know, the music thing, I didn't touch that. I didn't touch a guitar for 5 years. So anything I'm doing now is more than what I was doing then.
Sure.
So if I can just gradually stay into it, you know, and I probably any day I'm around that guitar, I definitely play it, which is, and that's been like the past year and a half, 2 years, because there for a while it was still like once a month. I'd pick it up and almost forget how to play it, you know, and now I'm playing it a lot and I'm trying to learn new stuff on it. So to me, being a better musician and a better songwriter means more than going and playing 10 or 50 or 100 dates a year. And then the same thing with hunting. It's like, I'm not going to loosen the reins on it, but it's like becoming a better hunter and becoming a better business partner and a better businessman means more than like, you know, booking, you know, 100 more hunters next year and hiring 10 more guides and all that. So I don't know. That's a hard question for me to answer just because I just let things happen as they happen, you know. I don't know. Hopefully that was a decent answer, and hopefully you didn't.
I feel so enlightened right now. Yeah. Yeah, that's a
felt like it kind of stumped me.
No. I mean, it's just like I said, there's no agendas when we come in here. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know enough about you to ask very many questions, which is normally good because then they can develop as we talk. But
sure.
it's just interesting to hear somebody kind of just who does this thing with these different paths and approach them both so mellow, I guess. Yeah, because it just seems like it would be tough with those types of successes and things that like passion-based things, right? Like none of that is a job really, right? I mean, it is, but you know, you see these super cliche, I call them stupid memes.
Yeah.
Where like, oh, you never work a day in the life if you're passionate. I'm like, okay, cool. You don't want to make any money, but but you actually do that, right? Like you actually do that. So you're one of those rare people to be like, okay, maybe these memes aren't that silly, and but I just wonder. I mean, at some point, it's like you're doing this. Something's going to shift. And
I mean, I think always hunting's always going to be. It's always going to be number one in what takes up majority of my life. You know,
Sure.
the days of my life. If we break them down, 365 days. You know, hunting is probably going to take up, you know, 250 of those. Music's going to take up about 50, and then the rest is going to be, you know, family and whatever else. It's probably always going to be that way. I'm never going to play music full time. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Never going to play music full time again. But it's always going to be something that I'm going to do. I'm always going to write songs. I'm always going to play songs. I'm always going to put out new songs. Just because I think, one, it's fair for the fans that I have gained over the past 10 years, which is crazy to say. I've been playing music for 10 years now. It's 2021. Started in 2011. Like, that's mind-blowing. But, yeah, I feel like that's just those fans deserve that. Like, if I quit on them, I feel like I quit on them for 5 years and didn't give them anything. And it's like, well, they pretty much, you know, they were giving me, you know, a few $100 a month or whatever it was by spinning the records and coming to shows and buying merch and all that. Like, why not keep giving them new songs and new stuff to listen to and all that? So got a lot of stuff in mind, and then some things in the works for this next year. We just did I've never done a music video before, but just filmed one. What's today? Wednesday? Oh, that was on Monday. So that'll be coming out sometime in the next couple months. That'll be cool.
Nice. No, that's definitely watch that.
Yeah,
but
it's gonna be a brand new song, so that'll
really?
be neat.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Perfect year to release like anything. People just want to consume stuff. It's
For sure.
crazy.
They just soak
If
it all in.
you look at the numbers, people just want to consume stuff right now. It's the best time to put, like, this would be the year to put out as much stuff as you can, probably, because everybody's going to be looking for anything.
Absolutely.
So it'd be interesting. Same with hunting, though. I mean, it's people aren't traveling outside of the country, and it's the best time to be doing what you're doing. So
100%.
you're in a good spot, a lot better than maybe some people in other businesses.
Yeah.
But
we've been very fortunate with this year, because it's like most people, I'll talk to somebody I hunted with 2 years ago, and it's like, well, how's business? Are you guys struggling? I'm like, I definitely want to find some wood to knock on, but like, no, we haven't struggled that much. We had some cancellations in the beginning, but people aren't going. A lot of our hunters, they hunt abroad, and they hunt outside the United States, and they can't do that in most places now. So they're spending that money they would spend over there
here
with us, or with, even our buddies that are outfitters. It's not, I don't know. To me, it's especially being younger, being 27 and owning my own outfit. I'm like, man, if we're not trying to make enemies in this business or the music business, which everybody's friends in the music business for the most part, but in the hunting business, especially in Texas, there's a lot of people are enemies. There's not a lot of allies out there, and it's like, why not work together at this? Stuck in the friend of mine that runs an outfit in northern California. He's like, man, we're all the same age. Like, let's just work together. I'll send you hunters, you send me hunters. Let's hunt together. Let's do this thing. Like, we're all in it for the greater good of hunting, getting kids out, getting people out in general. I'll take somebody that's 60 years old, has never been hunting. Like, yeah, I would gladly take you for sure. Let's do this. Just because it's in our blood, and like, they go experience that. If whatever the scenario is, if they're 60 and they've never hunted before, they're going to get addicted to it. They're going to enjoy it. It's in your DNA. It doesn't matter who you are. It's in your DNA somewhere down the line.
Oh, it is. Absolutely. And, well, the culture, it's so romanticized now. It's like the opposite, right? Like, hunting's always been demonized and always had this kind of vibe to it. Like, some goofy, overweight redneck dude. And now, like, that's not hunting. No. It's like...
It's the fit guy.
It's the fit dude who's out there doing the Cameron Haynes thing, you know, and props to like all those guys, because what they've done is they've brought all this light onto this industry that should have had it the whole time, that just has never had it.
For sure.
And so it's the perfect time. I mean, really is, because people are getting into it from all walks of life because they see a bow hunter in GQ magazine. Well, I mean, how's that even a thing?
It's insane.
It's insane. So anybody who's in that industry or likes it or enjoys it, it's like, it's the best time for it.
Yeah. It's funny to run across guys. I mean, Cameron Haynes is the man, but there's guys out there similar to Cameron, that have trained their butts off way before his time, that were just hardcore bow hunters. Like, they live and breathe bow hunting elk in September. And so they train all year just to hunt, the 30 days of September.
Because any elk hunting, like in Colorado, is a bitch.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It is so hard.
You don't go on an easy elk hunt.
Especially if you're from Texas.
Like, for sure.
Going into Texas and then going into 16,000 foot.
Just the elevation.
To hunt elk in the rut.
Yeah.
Monsters in the rut. Like, it is just a different thing. If you've never hunted outside of Texas, you have no idea.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Nope, you don't. But yeah, those guys, those old timers that are, like, man, when I was 20, I was doing the same shit he was doing, and I never got recognition for it. I didn't want recognition for it. That was just the way of life. But I've hunted with several guys over the years that talk about that. You'll mention like somebody like Cameron Haynes' name, and they're like,
people get kind of weird because he's so famous, like,
but
a little bit.
But he's bringing attention, like you said. He's shining a lot of light on our industry, or the industry that I'm in, and he's doing a lot of good for it. He's not doing any bad for it, I can tell you that.
No, he's so genuine. Like, the dude still goes and like works at a power plant or something. Don't get mad at him for being cool as shit.
Yeah, he's still got a day job.
Yeah. You can't be mad at that guy for being cool.
No, not at all. But yeah, it's, lots of cool aspects to the hunting industry for sure.
Yeah, it's the best it's ever been. And I mean, I feel like that about rodeo too. I mean, it's the best it's ever been. So many things are, other than like politics, but everything else, like, if you take that away, and like the tribal people who are really angry right now, like, it seems like this is like the best time to be alive. Minus just like this really, really giant orange old, and then whatever color Joe Biden is in the room. Just these politicians who are just ruining everything. But otherwise, like, life's great.
Yeah. Hey, we're alive. We got arms and we got legs. I always tell my wife that. I'm like, we're doing all right.
Some of us. Ty has a fake leg.
We're alive. Does he really?
No.
At least it works. If you got one. I didn't say we all have real arms and real legs.
It's true, you didn't. No. Yeah, he's like halfway to Darth Vader at this point. Well, cool. I mean, I think that's a pretty great story. I think a lot of people will be interested in that. Should we let him have some whiskey and play some music?
Yeah, might as well. What do you guys have?
Oh, a
Yeah,
lot.
a lot.
There's a lot. Go take a peek.
Okay.
Let's go get some.
Guys, it's not audio only. The Gauge is on YouTube. Every single episode's on YouTube. We got 4K cameras, the best stuff. Check it out on YouTube if you want to see faces. Bright, smiling faces. We don't just use this lighting for nothing. We video it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell. Lots of people are watching the videos, but not a lot of people are subscribing. Please help me. Help us. Help the Gauge. Subscribe on YouTube. All right, guys, we're doing something a little cool, a little fun. I'm just going to go straight into introducing on a Wednesday night from the Gauge Studios, Kolton Moore.
Back before my arms were covered in all this ink, before I lost their trust, before I learned how to drink, back before I bought that pretty ring and set it on her hand. It seems so long ago, I can't quite understand how everything has changed, and nothing is the same. A couple 100,000 miles, a few heartbreaks I've arranged, and still I look back and say everything has changed. Back when I was just a kid with a guitar and nothing to lose, writing songs for a living was just some sort of muse. Back when everyone thought I didn't have nothing to say, little did we know my songs would be what they are today. And oh, how everything has changed, and nothing is the same. If you'd have asked me 5 years ago where I'd be today, I promise my answer, yeah, wouldn't be the same. As I'd say everything has changed. Everything has changed. They informed me that we're going to play another one, so we're going to play another one. We're going to play a real sad one. For 4,745 days, and I have missed you every single one, and I can't make it through a week without seeing someone who looks like you. Yeah, I guess it's starting to get the best of me. seems like just yesterday, but it's been 13 long years since you walked out the door with that smile on your face, flushed red cheeks no one could replace. It never seems to get any easier, but I know you're somewhere better than here. And I can't wait to see you. I'm gonna hug your neck, gonna kiss your cheek, talk about who we thought that you could be, and ask you why'd you leave so soon. You'll be 32 years old. You probably have a wife, a couple kids, and a brick home. You'd still be as wild as you ever were, and all I can think about is how you'd look now. I wonder if your voice still sounds the same. And I can still hear you laugh every time I hear a joke. I always find a penny on your birthday, but I know you're somewhere better than here. And I can't wait to see you. I'm gonna hug your neck, gonna kiss your cheek, talk about who we thought that you could be, and ask you why'd you leave so soon. Why'd you have to leave so soon? All right, we're going for round 3. We played a couple of, we played a semi-sad one, and then we played a really sad one, so we'll play a little uplifting tune, a little bluesy tune called God Man Blues. A preacher stand by a lonely church and makes his money selling old band merch. His woman left him about a week ago. Now with a deacon down to Mexico, he's singing, ooh, the God Man Blues. It drives a pickup back from 62. His bumper sticker says that Jesus loves you. He lives his life by the good book's code. Now day to day bearing the heavy load, he's singing, ooh, the God Man Blues. He's singing, ooh, the God Man Blues. Preacher stand at a dead-end street, book in his hand and a gun to his cheek. Says, Lord, forgive me for the sins I made. He sings a song song that he sang yesterday. He's singing, ooh, the God-man blues. He's singing, ooh, the God-man blues. Having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. Said if you're having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. Preacher stand in an empty house. She stripped it down from the clock to the couch. But he ain't singing that song no more, 'cause he done got rid of that doggone whore. He's singing, ooh, ooh, the God-man blues.
This has been The Gauge, hosted by me, Chance Conrado, produced and edited by our guy Ty Yeager. Shout out to the executive producers Dustin Pointer and Cody Denton. Marketing and content produced by Riley Chone. Our theme song is by Shay Ashshire and the Night Howlers. Make sure to rate and review this podcast, as well as follow The Gauge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure to subscribe to The Gauge wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you guys next time.